All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica Crow, and I am the founder of Apogy. Apogy is a change management training, coaching, and consulting firm. And I'm here with Kerri Weaver. And Kerri and I got the chance to work together this past year as she was moving forward with implementing and developing the change management capability within her organization in a more meaningful way. So we'll get into that in a few moments. But Kerri, do you mind introducing yourself and just telling us a little bit about who you are, what your current role is, and just how long you've been with your organization and what you're focused on today?
Sure. Thanks, Jessica. So again, my name is Kerri Weaver. I've worked in the insurance industry for about 30 years now. Approximately 23 of those years have been with my current carrier, and just have had the pleasure of working in change management for about the last 10 to 11 years. My journey with change management began when I was tapped on the shoulder for a major implementation transformational project that we were working on in the claims department here, and was asked if I could step up to be the people side of change. And with that, I wasn't sure what that meant, but I was on board. So we jumped in with change management, working with a consulting firm on that project. The project was about 4 or 5 years long, and
Yeah.
just learned a ton about how we could support people through major changes.
Had you been trained or certified in change management at that point, or did that come later after you had some reps in with the project and working with the consultants and learning a little bit about the practice itself?
So it started first working with the consultants, learning a little bit of baseline about change management, and then did go through the ProSci change certification to be a practitioner.
Yep.
So that kind of solidified things with that.
And then from there, so you got volunteered, right, tapped on the shoulder to support the change management work stream within the claims department. And then from there, change management within your firm has really evolved. And when you and I started working together, it was at the starting point of we've had change management as a work stream, as a service, supporting different projects within the business, but now we're thinking about it in a different way. So at the time you were in the claims department, where do you sit today, and how has the change management focus at your firm evolved over the past 5, 10 years?
Sure. So yes, so we had a successful launch of our claims transformational project. And from there, I went to 2 or 3 additional larger transformational projects. And at that point, we were at a stage in our organization's journey with change management that the decision was made to put it at the enterprise level. So I currently sit in the HR department, working with our talent network of excellence area. And I have peers that are all engaged in talent work. There, I'm concentrating now on more of an enterprise view of change management. So we've done a very nice job to date supporting those projects from a project standpoint, but really taking it a step further to say, how can we take it to an enterprise level and support our whole organization versus just project to project?
Which is really exciting because that shows the maturity of change management within your organization. What does that structure look like, or what's the big picture vision for supporting change management at the enterprise level in your organization? What are some of the details there?
So we have I'm a change management leader, and I sit in that talent network of excellence area. And the charge was to develop a change management office or a center of excellence.
Mhm.
So at this point, we have done a lot of research, tried to get best practices around what this looks like. And we really found that developing a center-led operating model, which we've done, bringing it to
Mhm.
HR, bringing it to the enterprise level, and then also looking at making sure that we get our enterprise leaders on board, which we did do. So it was super important to have their support, which they have been very supportive along the way. And then also those business leaders. So what do those business leaders think about change management, and why? What's in it for them? Why would they want to have change management engaged throughout the the organization. So at this point now, we do have that support. We are going on what we call road shows to
Mhm.
discuss what that looks like to our business partners. So what we've decided is that we'll have business representatives in each of our business units being our liaison for change management. So
Mhm.
someone who will be a member of our community of practice that we're standing up, will
Mhm.
be someone that will receive some additional education around change management and be able to support our leaders through change management, and then ultimately be that person that can help with supporting projects or programs within their business unit.
Which is super exciting. So, congratulations on the progress that you've made and for carrying the vision forward into the rest of the year and where you're at now in the process.
Thank you.
What have been some of the biggest aha moments for you where you, as you've been standing up the Center of Excellence and moving forward with your ideas for the community of practice? What has been surprising and what has been, the biggest opportunity that you found through the process?
So I think as far as standing up the Center of Excellence, right now there's one resource. So that's me that's been actually allocated to change management as a full-time resource. So quickly found when I got into this enterprise level role that we needed to absolutely find ways to bring the business into the prioritization piece of being able to support change throughout the organization or it
Mhm.
won't work.
Right.
Um, there's a lot of times where people will tap on the shoulder and say, "Hey, I know you know about change management. Can you help?" Our
Yeah.
organization is about 2,500 people, and you just can't sustain that. So it's
Right.
been really great to see nominations now come forward for people who are excited about learning about change management and who want to be a part of the journey and learn more about what that is and how they can help.
That's awesome. What have been some of the most challenging aspects of what you're trying to implement?
I think, like anything, organizations are going through a lot of change,
Right.
and this is another change. So, really utilizing the tools and tips that we have as change management practitioners to make sure that we're prioritizing this at the right time, too. So, making sure that the work that we do is very succinct, easy
Mhm.
to follow, and something that is sustainable has probably
Yeah.
been the biggest aha moment.
Yep, yep. And that makes a lot of sense. And then for the individuals within the business unit, so thinking about that sustainability piece and having these somewhat volunteer or nominated individuals, what are some ideas on how to cultivate and nurture that relationship, recognizing it's a potentially a part-time role with the dotted line into the community of practice?
So what we've said is that the community of practice, we're keeping it to 1 hour per month.
Hmm.
So it'll be 1 hour per month. And what we can get through that, we will begin to educate. We'll have some easy snippets. So those learning pieces,
Hmm.
easy to consume articles. So things that they can take in very minimal amount of times to take a look and learn on their time.
Hmm.
But really make it concise and easy to absorb. We
Hmm.
also developed consistent tools and templates for our practitioners to use,
Yeah.
which will hopefully take some of that angst or some of that unknown away and be able to have tools that they can just take off of the shelf, utilize, and then ask questions along the way.
That's so great. And then in terms of that, if you think about the Center of Excellence being kind of the broader enterprise support, reporting, visibility, what would which comes first, the community of practice or the Center of Excellence in your mind?
So I think the Center of Excellence is the foundation. So you need
Mhm.
to have a foundation, need to have the information organized. What the Center of Excellence also does is gives us a foundation or a centralized point to provide our executive leadership team with a view of all the changes that are happening in the
Yeah.
organization. That
Yep.
helps them understand where we are. Can we absorb more change? Do we have the ability to take on another large transformation, or should we concentrate on some of the small wins? So that's super important. I also think that as we build up the community of practice, it will organically support then that center of excellence.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So if I'm a change management practitioner, I'm new to the organization, or we're trying to stand up a center of excellence, what is one of the first two or three things, maybe even just one thing, that you would recommend to me or to someone in my shoes do to make some progress getting this center of excellence off the ground?
So I would actually say two things. Number one is absolutely you need sponsorship. So you
Mhm.
need sponsorship from leadership in your organization, really working on helping them to understand why it's necessary and how it's going to assist the organization. Of course, we're trying to help the people, but there's absolutely an ROI on a lot of this work that we're doing, and just really keeping people happy and engaged through the amount of change that they're going through is crucially important. Number two, I would say just to be able to organize your thoughts and start talking to people, find out what's
Yeah.
going well with change and what's not going well with change, and be able to tell the story. People are
Yes.
always much more apt to understand what's happening or what you're talking about when you can tell a story.
I think that's such an important takeaway for people to hear, because in the change management world, being able to link that ROI piece to the work that you're doing can be tricky sometimes if you don't have access to, if you're saying keeping our employees happy and their how they feel about things, that does matter. But then the direct link between that and retention sometimes can be hard to say, well, the interventions, what we're doing here had a direct influence, even though collectively it likely did, which is why being able to tell the story and bringing in those sound bites combined with that data, combined with the big picture, is really how you sell the value of change management, and also can make progress on putting together something like what you've done with the Center of Excellence and the community of practice. Where do you see things? So kind of if we were to fast forward into the future, you've got, your Center of Excellence already exists. You've got your community of practice. Where else would you innovate? How else would you continue to build the competency and capability of change management within your organization?
Absolutely. So I think that's so important. And change management is changing.
Yes.
Our our area of expertise is changing every day. So the vision is obviously to have everyone in the organization have change competency at a higher level, but really just to develop those leadership skills,
Yeah.
especially to be able to lead our people into the future. If you have good change management capabilities within your organization, it not only helps through projects and programs, but it also helps with those everyday changes that are never going to go
Absolutely.
away.
Yeah, absolutely. And those happen all the time and can sometimes have the same sort of impact on people because of the volume of those little everyday changes that are happening. So that's a really important takeaway. What do you love about change management?
I love change management just because it's always changing and there's always something new to under to kind of understand and to learn. I think when the light bulb goes off for people, when I'm talking to people or discussing change management with them, a lot of it really is learning by doing. So you're learning by
Yeah.
doing and just really just having that light bulb go off for people to say, oh, I get it now. I get what's in it for me and I get why we're doing this, and let's move forward and I'll be an advocate or I'll be a change champion for this. I mean, that just to me is the icing on the cake.
Yeah, that's so great. And, the alternative too, or the flip side of that is you also have experience, or you've had conversations with people within your organization who recognize the value because they've had projects, programs, initiatives go out that didn't have change management. And so sometimes the light bulb is that positive benefit, but sometimes the light bulb is like, oh, now I get it because we didn't have it. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. And it's really, I think if there's one piece of advice is just to develop the relationships within
Yes.
your organization. The more relationships and the more advocates you can have on your behalf, it's truly a win-win.
Yeah, I just emphasizing that for people who are watching this video, having relationships. I mean, that's your, we think about sponsorship in many ways as having a primary sponsor and then sustaining sponsors and what that looks like. But really it's you can have sponsors everywhere in the organization if you have trusting, meaningful, authentic relationships because you care about them as people and you all collectively are there to win as one team, one firm. So that is so important for people to hear. Anything else that you would like someone who is interested in getting involved in change management or is a seasoned practitioner and is thinking about what can I do differently, anything that has been helpful for you throughout your change management journey that you would like to share with others?
I think when you're up against trying to set up a CMO or a community of practice, it can be overwhelming. So there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of different perspectives, and I think one thing that you actually helped me talk through was let's take a step back. Take your best practices and what has worked for you. Take some of those stories in your organization, use those, and then just start writing things down, just start planning and start executing. Those quick wins that you can get are wins, regardless of how big or how small, and will lead into the bigger solution or the bigger picture.
Yeah, it's that flywheel. I think it's a flywheel, I should say. I think I'm glad that resonated with you. And I definitely saw it come to life while working with you and the gears clicking. And yeah, you're an expert and you know enough. And if you do whatever you don't know, you can go and figure out. So I love that was your key takeaway. And I agree with that for people who are wondering, should I make this move or should I do this? The answer is yes, just start doing something. So
yes.
I love that. Well, Kerri, it was so great having you on the show. I like to call it. You are such a bright light and have such a wonderful attitude and outlook. I would also say optimism. That is something that you have and that I think supports you in how you engage and interact and move forward with all the big ideas and initiatives that you have. So wishing you so much success through the remainder of the year and into 2023. And yeah, thank you so much for making time to share your story with Apogy's community.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. Take care.
Take care.